Trace. Dose. Let's go.
Welcome to the Three Grandmas podcast. I guess I am continuing to do the voice. We are doing another scene from the movie. Try and guess what it is if you haven't read the title.
I don't know why we play this game. Everyone knows what the movie is. I advertise it weeks ahead of time. All right, go ahead.
All right. And action. Interior station wagon, afternoon. All four sit quietly, not getting out. A muffled spike of noise is heard from the back seat. Graham and Meryl turn and see Morgan pull the baby monitor out of his jacket. He holds it in his lap. Beat.
What if Bo's baby monitor is picking up signals from extraterrestrials?
Beat.
All this crop stuff, they did it 25 years ago. It was a joke.
The monitor spikes with a sudden crackle. Morgan pulls it away from his ear. It's just static, Morgan. Turn it up and see. Morgan turns a knob on the side. The volume suddenly jumps on the monitor. We hear beeps in the static. The red lights on the front of the baby monitor light up with each beep.
It's a code.
Let me see that, please. Morgan hands Graham the monitor in the front seat. The beeps come and go as they get covered by the static.
It's noise.
It's broken, Morgan. It'll just keep doing this. Beat. Let's get out of the car, okay?
We might lose the signal.
We can't just sit in the car in our own driveway like this.
We'll look like mental patients.
Beat. Nobody gets out of the station wagon. I'm getting out now.
Don't do it.
Graham pulls the handle. His door opens. He waits before getting out. The other three station wagon doors open right after. Outside the car, Graham stands and closes his driver's side door. The monitor changes sounds. The beeping disappears. The static becomes louder, becoming a moving, swirling sound of texture. Everyone becomes frozen, standing next to the station wagon. Three of the doors are open. In the texture of sound, just for a moment, we hear something that sounds like...
Voices. Did
Did
you hear that?
Everyone stares at the baby monitor in Graham's hand.
Not English, though. You heard the voices, right, Uncle Merrill? I heard them more.
I heard them more.
Don't worry, give me a beat.
Graham doesn't move his arm. He keeps it out in the air where he had it as he closed his door. Graham looks to Meryl over the roof of the station wagon. It's probably picking up another baby monitor.
That's right.
The swirling texture sound floats through the air above the station wagon.
Let me see it.
Beat. Graham moves. He hands the monitor over the hood. Meryl reaches for it. The swirling, moving texture becomes loud and filled with intelligible noises. Graham and Meryl freeze, both touching the monitor over the roof of the station wagon. We hear something that sounds like a voice emerge and then quickly fade away.
It doesn't sound like words.
Meryl concentrates on the swirling, moving texture coming from the baby monitor. Graham looks around at his rapt family. See, this is why we're not watching these news reports. People get obsessed. I'm letting go now.
No, Dad. No, don't do it.
You'll lose a signal.
Graham looks at Meryl, who's now one of them. Beat. Morgan is the first one to move.
Don't let go.
He moves from the back passenger door to the back bumper, where he begins to climb onto the station wagon. Morgan?
It gets clear. The higher you hold it.
Morgan crawls on the roof and takes the monitor ever so gently out of Graham and Meryl's outstretched hands. Morgan, be careful.
I got him.
Meryl climbs up over the side and joins Morgan on the roof. Meryl keeps a hand on his nephew. Morgan raises the monitor above his head. The red lights on the baby monitor all turn on. The swirling texture coming from the monitor becomes something more mechanical, like the hum of large equipment in the distance. The voice, like sounds, are under a crackle but are clearer and louder. Bo runs to the front bumper and climbs onto the hood. Hold on! Graham cuts her off by taking a seat on the hood. He takes hold of Bo. All four in the car now. Morgan stands up on the roof of the station wagon. Meryl holds him by the waist. Bo tries to get up onto the roof by climbing over Graham in the windshield. Graham boosts her up over his head with both hands. Meryl, you got her! Meryl reaches out his free hand. Bo reaches out to him. The sound from the monitor suddenly changes.
Stop!
Everyone stops exactly where they are. Graham holds Bo over his head. Bo reaches out to Meryl. Meryl sits on the roof with one arm out. Morgan stands with the baby monitor raised high in the air. The Hess family remains very still on the hood of their station wagon as they listen. The crackling is gone. The voice-like sounds are clear and upfront. There are two distinct tones in the mix.
It's gonna be huge. It's so huge.
The voice-like sounds are not words, but more like grunts and gurgling. That's someone drowning. The sounds are being created by inhales, not exhales. A sequence of these sounds in one tone is followed by silence, and then the second tone begins another sequence, like a conversation. Graham struggles to hold Bo up. Bo struggles to keep her arms out. Merrill struggles not to turn his face to the incredible sounds above his head. The tones escalate in volume. Morgan's eyes widen as the sequence of sounds becomes shorter and faster. The tones become harder, angrier. The silence is almost gone. The voice-like tones reach a loud, feverish pace, almost violent, and then we hear a click, and they're gone. Beat. Everyone looks up at the baby monitor. The red lights are off. Only the bland hum of normal static comes from its speaker. Beat.
They hung up.
Graham brings Bo down into his lap. Morgan takes a seat next to Merrill on the roof. The Hess family sits like mental patients on the top of their station wagon. End scene. I'm not gonna lie, that was kind of magical, boys. Like,
Now listen, I didn't
we
want to
kind
reveal
of
this,
killed that.
but I actually do ADR work on the side, and obviously you can
okay,
tell.
okay.
Obviously you can tell. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I could feel that. I could feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
Pragpro, you seem to have swapped Morgan and Bo's voices. I'm not sure why.
When you're
It was a creative
prepubescent,
choice.
is a very
Yeah.
fine line.
Yes.
You don't. The child, they sound very similar, and you
Mhm.
know.
But you made them sound very different. You made the young girl.
Yeah, but
sound
you
like
were
an
reading
adult man.
the scene notes the same way the acting was. There was no differentiation between the non-played text and the role that you were playing. So I'd like
Good
to see
point.
a voice change or something.
Good point. I mean, I was more focused on those stage directions. Like that was that was the thing that really grabbed
I
me
was
about
more
the
focused
scene.
on I don't know.
on getting
My
the
coffee.
voices wrong. I will say, Meryl, you really inhabited Joaquin Phoenix that time.
Thank you. Thank you. I tried.
I think you could possibly win an Oscar one day.
Listen, that's the hope, and I'm going to come back and look at this moment and say it started right here. This is where the journey, my footsteps, my first footsteps are right here. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
although Joaquin Phoenix is in a bit of hot water at the moment. Did you hear about this?
what did he do? Oh, he left the movie, huh?
Yeah, he dropped out 5 days before production.
Well, because the director's a misogynist. That's why.
You can't just say every single
I can say whatever I want.
Is a misogynist.
Do you know what the movie was?
It's Todd Haynes' next film. It's a gay romance film. I
Maybe
mean,
you
I
wanna be
love
gay.
Todd Haynes. Yeah, but it was his film that he brought to Todd Haynes. Like,
Oh
it
wow,
was,
that's crazy.
that's the crazy part about the whole
Damn.
thing is
Yeah.
they're gonna lose millions of dollars because of it. They can't recast apparently, so he's just fucked the whole movie.
That's crazy.
Basically. Yeah. Oh well. Moving on. Where's Pragpro gone? What's he doing?
here.
This is
He's here.
very
Don't
very
worry.
unprofessional. We've got,
Don't worry.
we've got a movie to review.
Yeah.
So this week we are talking about M. Night Shyamalan's Signs from 2002. And there's a reason why I picked this movie. I was on Twitter, basically, and at the time last week when we were reviewing The Departed, the most talked about film at the time on Twitter was M. Night Shyamalan's new film, Trap. I don't know if anyone's heard of it. It starred Josh Hartnett. It's about a guy that I think it's about a serial killer at
Yes.
a concert, right?
Yes. So there's 15 trailers. Sorry to cut you off. There's 15 trailers, and none of them explain what the movie is until the most recent one. And I was like, oh, I get it now. So it makes
That's
sense.
what the movie's about.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah.
I haven't watched any of the trailers. I never watched M. Night Shyamalan trailers, just because I don't want to know anything going into his films.
Right.
And this one, I've heard the trailer looks really good, and I've heard good things from people who are, they respect M. Night Shyamalan and what he does. Obviously, M. Night Shyamalan is a very it's weird to say controversial because he seems like such a nice guy, such a harmless guy. But I mean, in the film circles, I feel like M. Night Shyamalan is controversial because he's made some bangers, but he's also made some of the worst films in history.
Is that really controversial, or is that more like polarizing?
That's just a fact.
Well, it's polarizing because you talk about him now, and you still have people who are big defenders of him.
Who are these people?
What do you mean? Who are these people? I'm
This
one of
movie
them.
was not good.
Because they
This was a
remember
bad movie.
Signs and
Are you kidding?
Nope.
The other one.
Oh my god, we're going to get into a row this time, Pragpro.
Okay.
If that's the case,
It should have been called Beat, because every fucking stage direction was beat, take a beat. And like
But
the
the
poor
movie
actors, the
is
good
good for that.
performances were ruined by the fucking stage direction, I think.
Oh, that is no. Oh my
Gotta
god.
get into it.
Anyway,
Gotta get into it.
We're
I mean,
not
that's what
getting
we're here
into it
for.
yet.
We're not here to play teddy bear picnic. We're here to fight.
But
That's
M.
next week.
Night Shyamalan, so this was his fifth film, but it's basically the third film that he broke out with. So the first film he obviously broke out with was The Sixth Sense. That's the one that everyone remembers, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Has everyone
that was his
seen
first
The
one,
Sixth
you
Sense?
said?
yet?
Oh yeah, I saw that. It was great.
Well, it's not his first film, but his first breakout film.
Okay,
Like
uh-huh.
his films before that.
Oh, he
didn't
did
really
have a
make
film before that.
Yeah,
didn't
he
know
had
that.
2 films before
Yeah, I
that.
didn't know.
He had a film called Wide Awake and Praying with Anger
Hmm.
in the 90s. But The Sixth Sense was his first breakout film.
Mm.
And he followed that with Unbreakable, which is
It's a good one.
also really good. And
Never
this
seen
is his third film that also made a huge splash. Has a lot of... I feel like this film has made its cultural impact. There's a lot of memes that have come from this film. Obviously, that shot behind time is very famous, very infamous. Famous and infamous at the same time. Because I think it
Garish
scared a...
and lame is the only
Get
words that
out
came to
of
my
here,
mind.
Pragpro. Let me...
Derivative.
But we're just talking about the director for now, and his career, right?
Great.
After these 3 films, this is where his career started to take a dip. I mean, Pragpro would probably argue that it took a dip at Signs, which we'll probably get into. But most people would argue that he
What was
started
after
to
this?
take a dip.
The Village?
The Village.
The
Yeah.
Village.
The
And then
Village,
Baby in
which...
the Water, which is another fucking horror.
Yeah, The Village, I know a lot
The
of people
Happening.
who
It's just
defend The Village.
shit after
The
shit after
Happening.
shit.
Yeah.
So it became Late in the Water, The Happening, The Last Airbender, and After Earth. Talk
Why didn't
about,
we do
like...
the last time,
If
Brendan?
I
Oh,
made that
shit.
many bad fucking movies in a row, they wouldn't let me make another movie, would they?
Yeah, why do they
No.
keep letting him make movies?
Because, I don't know, he...
You know what? He produces
he's a
them all,
nice
so
guy.
he gets the money
He has a
together
name?
himself. He gets
He has
his
a
own
name.
money together. I
Yeah.
think that's
the
why.
reason why they keep letting him make movies is because he made The Sixth Sense. I think that's it. He made
And
The
his
Sixth
box
Sense.
office too, because everyone knows his name and
Yeah.
international market.
I'd say, like, during this period of the 2000s, there weren't a lot of big name, like movies that were sold on the director's name in the 2000s, besides ones that had been, like, directors for ages, like Martin Scorsese. There weren't a lot of new breakout film directors, besides maybe Bryan Singer is probably the most well-known, who's, now cancelled, but... but like M. Night Shyamalan in 2000s was probably... I'm trying to think, like, out of new directors in the 2000s, he's probably the only one besides Bryan Singer that you could sell a movie on his name that hadn't been a director since the 70s, 80s, like Scorsese, Tarantino, Spielberg, etc.
Are you talking about
so
super
when-
unproblematic Bryan Singer? Is that what you're talking about?
No,
Yeah. Oh,
I mean-
different one. Different problem with Bryan Singer.
we're talking about the X-Men director, Bryan Singer.
Oh, okay.
Who definitely hasn't done anything bad in his life.
Never.
But I like talking about M. Night Shyamalan because he's
Shamalama
just
ding dong.
he's such a weirdo.
So stupid.
It's such a
He's a master self promoter.
he's
He's
a
the
master
P.T. Barnum.
self-promoter. Yeah. What's really funny is after you look at like The Village and like the poster for The Village and his name, like he's got a whole logo for his name, like he's got like an eclipse around the night in his name on the poster. Like he was really like I feel like at the Village he really got very in his own head, and just lost his way after the Sixth Sense Breakable
I
Signs.
think they're always trying to appoint a new Rod Serling in Hollywood. Like right now, it's definitely
Jordan Peele.
Jordan Peele, right?
Jordan
And
Peele,
this was the same vibe because that's such box office for them. If you can get mysterious, family-friendly, light horror, it's not really horror, but it's suspense, right? So there's a lot of homages to Hitchcock. There's it's obviously War of the Worlds was picked on for a lot of this movie. But he's amazing that he made that movie. It was really popular, and he really flipped it into high name recognition, which is pretty amazing. I remember he used to have an American Express ad that ran for 2 years where it was just like, like the kind of ad someone who's made 35 amazing suspense films would get, but he had made 2, right?
And
I don't know.
Shyamalan did? He had American Express ads? Is that
he had an
is that
American
real?
Express ad. Yeah, you can look
That's
it up on the
crazy.
YouTube.
Oh, he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And
Wow.
that also acknowledged his name recognition because it was all show the card with his name on it, and he's at the movies, and he's like, and it's like, oh,
He's
this guy
the
must be
twist
legit.
guy. Yeah.
So they sold him as legit to everyone. And the other thing he does, I saw that he self-produced this movie. So he's a master of getting money together too. So if you can do those two things.
I just realized the other 2000s director that became a household name is probably Michael Bay.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not for a good reason, obviously. I mean, he's made some decent films, but the Transformers films obviously are not up to snuff. But
what are some of the good movies he's made? M. Night Shyamalan.
I mean, I'm a big fan of Split. Yes,
I like the first half of Split a lot.
I'm a big fan of The Visit.
I like that one.
I really like The Visit. I think one thing besides The Last Airbender, notwithstanding, I think one thing that M. Night Shyamalan seems to be really good at is working with child actors. Just The Visit, incredible child actor performances in that one. The Sixth Sense, obviously we have Haley Joel Osment, which was he nominated for this film? I believe he was.
I think so, yeah.
He was nominated for this film?
No,
for Sixth Sense.
The Sixth Sense.
I was going to say.
Yeah, he was retroactively
nominated. I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
No. Haley Joel Osment.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Yeah, what a huge movie that was.
Haley Joel Osment, actually a very funny comedic actor now.
Oh, he's really good. Yeah,
he's pretty good. On Silicon Valley, right?
Yeah.
Was he on one? Yeah, he was on that, yeah.
He was played like one of the...
I've seen him in a bunch of different like improv things, and he's hilarious.
He's great.
We should have him on the show. Have him on Channel 9. We could have him on... whose line is it?
Terrible movie, but he's great in Tusk. I know we've talked about Tusk a few times on this podcast.
I haven't seen the movie.
I haven't seen Tusk.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it? He's great in that movie.
Maybe we should pick it sometime.
And my parents really liked a show that he was in. I can't remember what it was called. It was like not Mr. Nobody, but it was a different show with Haley Joel Osment.
Ooh, I have a little nugget here. Did you know that M. Night Shyamalan was the ghostwriter for the 1999 film She's All That?
I did not know that.
With Freddie Prinze Jr. and Rachel Lee Cook.
Yeah.
And he co-wrote the screenplay for Stuart Little.
Yes, he did. He wrote the screenplay for Stuart Little. Such a bizarre...
Interesting.
It's a bit like Gore Verbinski directed Mouse Hunt, like before he made the Pirates of the Caribbean films. I know I got to bring that up every time, but yeah, and I wanted to talk about Spencer Treat Clark in Unbreakable, it's another great child performance.
That's my favorite one of his, the Unbreakable.
Unbreakable, yeah. And like, notwithstanding your thoughts on Signs, like your obviously negative thoughts on Signs, Pragpro.
I have some positive thoughts too.
You got to admit that the child acting in this film, Abigail Breslin and Rory
the performances were great. I liked all the actors. I think Mel Gibson was great. Joaquin was great. I mean, it's just like they kept having him pause. They all pause for beat, stare at the camera, beat, stare at each other. It's like I know they're trying to play them in shock and stuff, but it's like people don't take that many beats IRL. It was just a very stunted. I understand, but it just, to me, it felt inauthentic. It was not. This is the opposite of cinema verite. This is anti-verite.
No,
this is like
definitely
totally.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it one day.
Yeah.
No, it's just like cinema verite is like if you had someone pop in a camera right now behind me and started filming this and call this a movie and not a documentary.
And they'd be
Okay,
like, "Where your pants at?"
Notwithstanding, like
They're off.
okay, so the scene direction notwithstanding, I feel like the dialogue in this movie is also really good. Like, just I love the dialogue. I was constantly laughing. His dialogue is so goofy, but he does it in such a like. It's a very specific, idiosyncratic way that he writes dialogue. I think.
True. It's
and
very
I feel
specific.
like it's very
Mel
specific.
Gibson's a couple of times I didn't like his dialogue because like someone would say something, he goes, "Well, what does that mean?" It's like, what do you mean? What does it mean?
But I feel like his character, like it works for his character because he's a father that has left the order, and he's
Your wife
obviously
is literally cut in half. Okay,
what
but
order
does
is
that
it?
mean,
Is he
though?
supposed to be a Lutheran? Because he's not a Catholic priest formally because he's married.
Because he might
Or
be
did he get
Anglican.
married after he left the church? Maybe
I
Episcopalian?
don't know.
But then you don't call them
Anglican.
father, so I'm confused about that whole thing.
I would guess.
And then someone
Anglican.
calls him a reverend, so I might have to
Yeah.
check the notes on that. I don't know. It doesn't matter.
He is a reverend, but I don't think it matters because this film is all about faith in general, and
True.
and I think it has some really important stuff to say about faith. Like, it doesn't say that God exists or anything, but it says like it's talking about how useful faith is to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like
There's
in
that good
terms of-
scene that we were talking about before we start. You want to talk about that?
Yeah. So there was a scene that I wanted to pick for the film, but there was only 2 characters in it, and we couldn't find a transcript of the scene that also had the scene directions in it. Because the original script, the scene is a lot different to the actual dialogue that's in the film, and I think the film's dialogue that they ended up going with, I don't know if Mel Gibson ad-libbed it or they rewrote it on set, but it's a lot better in the film. The scene is when Merrill, who is the Father Graham's brother, and the 2 kids are asleep, and they're talking about that there's 2 kinds of people in the world that react to stuff like UFOs and strange events. People who believe in miracles and people who think everything's just a coincidence. And
Which is totally
and
making something that's complicated too simple in my mind. Because I think everyone has a tapestry of faith and questioning all the time. It's like a matrix more than like either you're in this group who believes everything you see is a sign from God, or you're in this group and you're skeptical of everything.
Yeah, but like the film, the thing is those 2 characters are very set, but I feel like the film is a lot more gray area in the end. Like, it doesn't say that God exists, but it's okay to have your faith rewarded sometimes. Like, I'm just quoting.
I think that was a way for Mel Gibson's character to reassert his lack of faith too, and it also speaks to motive, right?
Exactly. And I really like that this film throws you into this family without much context, and you kind of get clues as to who Father Flanagan is throughout the film. Then you find out about the guy, Ray Reddy, who's played by M. Night himself.
I love that Lance plays Father Flanagan a couple times on his stream a month too. It's great that he's kept that character alive. It's a different character that he plays, but it's interesting.
Do you think he's very similar to Mel Gibson in this film?
In every
No, it's
way.
just the same name.
Yeah.
And would you similar in off screen too?
Would you
Very
say that
close.
Lance is very similar to Mel Gibson?
I thought he was Mel Gibson when I started following the stream. I was hopeful, but it didn't turn out to be him. I mean, I'm still waiting.
You make me lose.
Is it a Mel Gibson or Alec Baldwin, the one that called his daughter a little piggy?
Oh, that's Alec
That was
Baldwin.
Alec? Oh my god!
Shout out Alec Baldwin.
I didn't know that.
Big ups.
She is. I mean, listen.
Yeah, he called her, you fat little piggy.
I swear we
And I
bring
think
up
she was
Alec
like
Baldwin every
being
week as
mean to her
well.
mother or something, and so she called
Something
him.
like that, yeah.
I don't know.
It's fucking funny.
We know too much about the lives of
We
celebrities. I
do.
think,
We
sometimes.
shouldn't. We shouldn't.
But what Mel did, see, Mel's an alcoholic. And sometimes when you're raised by a domineering Orthodox Catholic family that builds its own church on the plot, and then you go get too fucked up, and then you get pulled over and you try to pull a "do you know who I am" situation, and then they don't give a fuck because they shouldn't, and then you start screaming expletives about Jewish conspiracies. Hollywood doesn't want to pick up your films as much anymore. So
becomes
feels
tough.
bad for him, but he did his own dirt to himself.
He's coming back. He's coming back with his new Passion of the Christ movie, and
that's hilarious that they made a sequel to the Passion of the Christ to me. It's just so funny to me.
Yeah,
it's like Titanic all over again.
Titanic. It doesn't even make sense.
No,
what are they going to do? He died.
Thought, listen, the other movie he made was a banger. Apocalypto.
He comes back.
I know, it's just funny though. It's just funny.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't see this movie.
I didn't see the first thing. Yeah. Apocalypto was a banger. I think Apocalypto was such a hit that it really got him back in good graces because it was such a great movie. Because no one really describes Mesoamerica in film at all. Not that I agree with all of his takes in that movie of like, the indigenous empires had to be destroyed because they were just satanic, and then they show up, the Europeans show up, and it's like, oh, they're gonna clean it. Obviously that's not what it is.
I really hope you pick Apocalypto because I haven't seen it. I've heard it's really good. Really good.
I would love to pick it next time. I already picked the other one, so this one, but
the other one is.
That was on the short list for sure.
But I disagree with you. I feel like he was still in bad graces even because Apocalypto was 2009 and his comments were around that time. I feel like his resurgence was more after Hacksaw Ridge, which was the one he directed.
True.
And everyone loved.
I wasn't that crazy about Hacksaw Ridge, but
I haven't seen it.
Check it out. When you see it, let me know what you think.
Time. So had you seen Signs before?
Yes.
Yes. Did you remember a lot of it from it?
I would say I remembered about probably 85% of it. 80%.
Okay.
Majority of it, yeah.
So obviously we know that me and Pragpro have completely different opinions about this film. So you're the tiebreaker here.
No, I'm still right no matter what.
What did you think of Signs? Go
ahead. Yeah, let me know.
Well, I know you like to side with racist JC, so I know why you like.
And there were things I did like about this movie too, which I'll mention later.
Thinking back, I was like, I think I liked Signs, but I mean, it wasn't like bad, And then I watched it, and I was like, oh, it's good. I enjoyed it. I have a new. I mean, I haven't really seen too many of Joaquin Phoenix's things. His movies. I'm sorry. I watched. I love the Joker. His brother was awesome in the third Indiana Jones movie. River Phoenix. Right?
Rest in power.
Rest in power. That's right. So Johnny Depp killed him. So yeah, I watched it again. I like Joaquin Phoenix. I haven't seen a lot of Mel Gibson's movies. The one that sticks out in my head that I want to rewatch is Ransom. I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
Is that what's that film noir one he made too? Payback.
Oh,
that's a fucking banger. Is he Payback?
Yeah, I gotta watch that one too. Yeah, but
I hate that Mel Gibson fucked up so bad because I love him as an actor. Lethal Weapon. And
I've never seen any Lethal Weapon movies.
And you can't talk about Mel Gibson without talking about the Mad Max movies as well.
I haven't seen the Mad Max movies except for the.
What are you talking about? Go see them right now. Log off and go watch the Road Warrior tonight. It's so good.
So yeah, but I thought Mel Gibson was fantastic in this movie.
Yeah,
I thought the kids obviously were good. Rory Culkin, I was staring at him for a long time, and I'm like, he looks familiar. He looks like Kieran Culkin, but he's not Kieran Culkin. And then I'm like, who the fuck is this kid? And then I was like, there's a third one? That's right. So yeah, but
he's great in this.
Yeah,
Mel Gibson was great. I really believe that Mel Gibson cared about those people, and that I believe that they were a family. I could feel how much he cared about the kids, and there was a lot of love, and that I really thought it was really good.
Yeah, but
they felt like they had a real relationship.
Overall, I like this movie a lot.
I really like this movie, and this is the first time I've seen this movie. I love M. Night Shyamalan's cinematography when he's cooking, not when he's not cooking. When he's not cooking, it's terrible. He has too many close-ups. But in this film, I feel like he struck a really good balance of just like very, like his character. I don't know how to describe his character. His camera movement is very flowy. It's very specific. like the way on the dinner table, the camera's set up on the dinner table, and they're having a conversation with the police officer. It starts on the police officer, and then it just slowly moves over to Joaquin Phoenix and frames him up, and then he has his bit of dialogue, and then it slowly moves back to the cop.
Feels like Spielberg in Close Encounters to me. Some of the camera work.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is that there's now a bit like during his like flop era. There was a magazine article with him on the cover that said "The next Spielberg?" ?
Yeah,
and with his
so
face
crazy.
on it. But you can see where they were coming from, because that article came out after Unbreakable, Sixth Sense, and Signs. I feel like M. Night Shyamalan's style owes a lot to Steven Spielberg, and the way he moves the camera is very similar to Spielberg. Like,
and how he's doing family-friendly thrills.
Yeah,
right?
And the one-ers, like the way he like a scene will start off framing characters up one way, and then the camera will move, and then it'll frame the characters up in another way, and then the camera will move, and then it'll frame the characters up in another specific way. That's very Spielbergian. You see it a lot in the Indiana Jones films, and I feel like M. Night Shyamalan in this film does it in a way that really works. I feel like every single time he uses the camera in an interesting way. It's done for a reason, done for emotional impact, and to maximize that experience.
Tension. I mean, he was doing, and it's a lot of Hitchcock stuff too, right? The tension building, and that's why there's so many beats. I mean, there's a reason for it. I thought the soundtrack was magnificent. I think I love the opening title, how the swell of the music is just like real intense, and like, it really was evocative, and it really got me ready for, hopefully tension. This film was a lot about tension, and they kept winding it, and I appreciated what they were trying to do there. Yeah.
And at the same time, the film's fun. Like, I feel like just the way the characters all interact with each other, the dialogue, it's just fun. There's just some really weird, kooky dialogue that he throws in there, and what's the part I'm trying to remember? Like all the stuff about the contaminated water, like she leaving
that
the
was
glass.
Pressed.
I loved it. I loved it. I was
because also the contention is that the little girl has some psychic capacity too.
Yeah,
right? Because she's like foreseeing, and she doesn't know why, and like she just likes to leave water around the house.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, spoiler alert, just like in H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds, the aliens are invading a planet that's 89% water. And they can't be. Come on, guys.
But that doesn't make
so crazy.
Sense. No. I don't.
So
listen to me.
That was legit.
I'm sorry, JC, but I got off the bus at that point.
This has been a talking point ever since fucking CinemaSins released a video about what's it called, about fucking Signs, and how the water doesn't make any sense. And
I never saw that. I agree.
I don't agree. Listen,
it's too simple solution. I want to see a clever solution. That solution was fun and interesting when H.G. Wells had it, but now you're just give me a new solution to how we're gonna foil these.
No, but I think it's clever for the characters, because it's all about having your faith rewarded, right? It's all about having that faith rewarded. So he introduces this this little character quirk for Bo, the daughter,
right,
who's always leaving water around, right? And then that feeds into the main premise of the film. And I don't think it makes sense. I don't think it doesn't make sense that the aliens could have been desperate. They talk about how they're harvesting humans, right? That's what they're there to do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other planets with humans on them, are there?
I don't know. In the infinite universe, of course. I mean, humanoids. What are we talking about? We want to get down to the granular. This mitochondria they need specific from this biome.
We don't know where they're from.
Earth humans. But what do they need it for? Do they need our blood? What do they need?
But it doesn't matter.
They could go to many other places with
all we need to know is that they need us, right? They need to.
Why are they staking out a farmhouse? It's like they sent a patrol just to deal with that farmhouse, and they're like, "Oh, I'm poking in the window." They're like looking through the window at the little kids, and like that's just a crazy way to invade.
they're
Earth.
staking out an entire planet. All right,
I guess.
we see the crop circles all over India. We see crop circles in Bangalore. We see crop circles everywhere. I don't think it's.
But we
a
only
plot
see aliens in Brazil and in Iowa, right?
Yeah, not just there. It was everywhere.
But why do they have to sneak up on us? It's like if they're invading and they're doing interstellar space travel, they have to like tiptoe in there. And I know this is a movie and you have to allow it. So I allow for all that. And I like this movie more when I saw it. And for some whatever reason, the thing that galled me was the beats and the way they instructed the actors to act. I just think it could have been a little different.
I disagree.
You know, I'm just picking on it.
I just love how earnest and goofy the film is. Like, I feel like the film goes for it. It reminds me of a film like Richard Donner's The Goonies. Like, that sort of, you know, it's just earnest in its
it's a family movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like baby's first scary movie. It's like baby's first suspense movie.
Yeah,
the kids are not going to get too freaked out, but it's still scary. So I understand what they were trying to do. It just wasn't my cup of tea, and a lot of people disagree with me. Like Roger Ebert gave this a 4 out of 4. He loved this movie. So you know, I'm very much wrong all the time, but it's just like, you know, I can't pretend I didn't like that choice. And you know, that doesn't mean that the whole movie was bad or I'm going to knock it all the way down or anything. It's just, I don't know. It just it just kind of annoyed me because I wanted to like all of it. I loved how they had the crop circles and like the simulated found footage style, you know, the TV broadcasts and international. And I thought he did a nice job, especially with the technology back then, where nowadays you could just whip that together in like 5 minutes, right? I could do that. But now I'm sure he took forever, you know, recreating the newscasts. And I like that world building was really, and I love how M. Night Shyamalan integrates his worlds, right? Because I feel like it's all happening in the same alternative Earth, you know, and he always has like callbacks, like, you know, the little girl might be a little psychic, like in The Sixth Sense, and so there's like a little nod. So I do appreciate a lot of the stuff he does.
Yeah, he has a lot of thematic.
He just disappoints me. It's just like, you know, someone who's like has the potential just to be that super, you know.
You feel cut by him.
I just feel like I don't get it. It's like, you know, he makes bangers and then he makes like 5 movies in a row that are just like toilet. So I don't understand, and you know, that's my problem, I guess. He's, you know, listen. What am I going to tell him? He's made how many movies? 11 movies.
Yeah, you got any thoughts on this time? I'm just
no.
I feel like we're just going back and forth on.
I mean, you know,
like the things he didn't like are basically the things I like. It feels like a very personal preference thing with this film specifically, and not a very universal.
I mean, I feel like I lean more on your side as far as liking the movie, but I do like some of the stuff I didn't like about the movie fall into Prag's camp. Like the water thing is just so fucking stupid. It's so stupid.
I don't agree.
It breaks my ability to suspend my disbelief when shit like that happens, or when where the dialogue is delivered by amazing actors. If you just let Mel Gibson and Joaquin figure out how to have dialogue with each other without like forcing them to pause so much, there would be pauses, but they would be like more normal. So I think that it was like over the scene, the actors' choices was over directed, if that makes sense.
Do you think he got over specific with the camera direction, camera angles, that he had to frame things up in a certain way every time? And
no, I don't have a problem with the cinematography. I think that was wonderful.
But what I'm saying is that's what causes you know, a lot of pauses.
It's in the script.
That he was so specific about.
It's in the scene we just read. It's like pause, direction. Let the actors figure out that part.
But then it's really weird that the actual movie's dialogue is a lot different to what is in the script. So it seems like they worked it out on the day.
It's like beat. The word beat. I would love to do an AI analysis of that document to see how many times the word beat is in it. I mean, because it's like that's implied when people have conversations. Of course, there's beats when you have an existential threat like an alien invasion, and you're a tight family, and your mom got killed, and the priest is like defrocked, and there's going to be beats, but you don't have to like enforce them. I feel like he was like enforcing over beats. If that makes sense. Beating it to death.
I've just gone Control F beat. He uses the word beat 215 times.
Oh my god.
That's my problem with the film.
The number one problem in the film. He's
That's
just
crazy.
a guy that likes to hold. He likes to hold.
Insane.
Is that every script though? Does he do that? I would love to see if he has that many beats in all of his films, because that would be interesting.
Well, the thing is you watch The Sixth Sense, and it has and Unbreakable, I think, have very similar, just like the way they progress. Pacing, yes.
He's trying to manage the pacing and meter the pacing, which I appreciate. And he's trying to do what Hitchcock did a lot. But I don't know if Hitchcock put beat in there, or if he just let Anthony Perkins do sinister, creepy-o, because that's what beating does. It kind of like creepifies everything. It's like a sustain on like a guitar, right? It's like a it's not a tremolo, but it's just like, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of I love the soundtrack, I love the cinematography, I love the style, the acting was great. I just have a little quibble with, I think it could have been better.
Yeah.
And that's
fair enough.
Doesn't mean I don't like it. I
mean, I loved everything about it. I was watching it, I was like, I don't like anything that I'm watching. I loved every scene. Like, when they move, one of my favorite moments is when he enters the house after he's seen the alien in the reeds. He walks in, and then all the kids are on the couch. Yeah. And all the kids are sitting on the couch with the tinfoil hats.
Yeah, that was funny.
Joaquin Phoenix in the middle. I was laughing my ass off.
One of my problems is I've seen this movie a couple times over the years, and so when you divorce all the surprises out of a suspense film, you have to readdress, because then I'm not looking to say, like when I'm watching this for the first time, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen next, right? Because I don't know. But now that I know what happens next, then I'm going to be micro granular with my quibbles with it. So that's probably not fair.
But
so I'll admit that.
Do you feel like, because I feel like this film works outside of all the craft and stuff, I feel like the family dynamic, the characters, the way the characters are written, and the way,
if it was a TV show, would I watch it every week though? That's the kind of vibe, right? It's like, I mean, but I want to see them do. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
it's complicated.
It's tough.
Film review should be complicated, so it is.
Yeah. Was there anything that stood out to you, like scene wise? Is there anything that?
Why are you talking to me?
Why not? You're part of the podcast.
No, I have a question.
Do you have an announcement to make or something?
Yes. Yeah. My announcement is: how do you feel about if the movie you watched was the same exact movie, except when we see the aliens, this is the only shot of the aliens you see, and they never show them? Would that make it a better movie?
No, because I feel like seeing it at the end, like that final scene is the culmination of all the themes that the film has been setting up. The idea of you can believe in coincidences, like you can believe that the universe is a complete coincidence, but also have faith in coincidence, like have faith in your family, have faith in just that things can work out by coincidence in the end. You know what I mean? Like the fact that the wife told him to let
swing away.
What's his name? Swing away. The water's on the thing. I think that whole scene.
Like, we don't understand all of the web of time, and that time, all things are happening simultaneously, and we perceive them as happening in order. And if you have a different perception, then you would see that those things are intricately. I appreciate that.
So, what I was trying to say earlier when you were talking about that, my favorite scene in the film when they're talking about faith and stuff, and Pragpro was saying it was simplifying it, and I think that was the point. Like, at that point in the film, those two characters are very simple in how they're looking at it, and I think the main thesis of the film in the end is, yes, things may be a coincidence, but it's still healthy to have faith in things, because it can still work out by coincidence. You know what I mean?
I think hope is like the version of faith that's more sustainable and practical, right? Because without hope, you can't get up out of bed every day if you don't hope that it's going to be a good day, right? You have to have something, and that's a sort of faith.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not even a faith in an extra dimensional being as much as just faith in the process, or faith in your family, or faith in the job you're going to, or whatever you're doing, or faith in yourself. I mean, that's all that stuff's very important.
Yeah. And I think without that scene with the alien there, the film wouldn't have worked for me. I think it all comes together to me in a nice, It comes together in a nice thematic web that works.
Another reason that this film's but was bugging me is because my favorite version of the H.G. Wells version, the war, was the Spielberg War of the Worlds.
That's your favorite version?
No, a version of what War of the Worlds can be, because that movie was just like,
what's the one with Tom Cruise?
I love that.
Yeah,
Tom
the one with
Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Was that movie received well? I don't remember.
Oh yeah,
was that?
It was.
Have you seen it? That's so good because
I wouldn't
now
say
that's
it was
a cinema verite.
well.
That's more of a cinema verite because it's action. It starts with the invasion. There's no context, and it's just a live, like real time events. It's like 2 hours in real Earth time, and everything gets resolved. And when I compare these two movies, I'm like, oh shit, Spielberg is up here, and he's like here because you see the mastery. I mean, that's just how I just think that's just a great version of it.
I don't know if I agree with that because when I was watching this film, I thought it would make for a great triple feature to have this film, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and Jordan Peele's Nope. I feel like those three films are like
the same vibe.
The same vibe and like masters of their craft telling a similar story. You know what I mean?
Like a Twilight Zone, or what was that other?
Yeah.
What was that other show that was like Twilight Zone? It doesn't matter. But I see. Yeah,
you're talking about Fringe.
Yeah, that would work.
Fringe might have been Fringe or X-Files.
X-Files.
No. This is back in the day. The Outer Limits.
Oh, the Outer Limits. Yeah.
And I think that would be perfect for an Outer Limits, like but you can create a film of it. Yeah, that would be a sick triple feature.
Yeah, with those
totally
three.
Agree.
And at some point during the film, I was watching it, and maybe this is why this film spoke to me so much. Because my favorite TV series of all time is Doctor Who, like hands down. And there's points when they're watching the news broadcasts, and it reminded me so much of the news broadcasts in Doctor Who, like when things are going down on the planet and alien invasions happening, and just that kind of, it felt like a really earnest tribute to that sort of media, and I love it. It hits all of my serotonin receptors when I'm watching it. You know what I mean? So that's why I think this film really worked for me. It's just one of those vibes, I think, that connect with me on a personal level, I suppose. You know what I mean?
That's fair. Yeah, I think I would probably have liked it a lot more if I had never seen it before.
Okay.
Because because I know what's going to happen, it kind of,
there was a time when you hadn't
spoils
seen
it. Yeah, I saw it in the movies when it came out, and I didn't remember not liking it. I don't. I thought it was. I was happy with it. I wasn't like. I didn't say, "Oh God, that was terrible." Like The Village, that was something I saw in the movies too that everyone was like very disappointed with, because nothing happens in that film. It's just like 2 hours of build up to no payoff, and there's nothing happened in the build up. It's just like scene, dialogue, nothing. No, it's just like. Too slow of a burn.
Yeah.
And he does like to simmer, and he does like the slow burn. And I do appreciate that. I'm just picking on it because that's what the show is for, right?
I know. And you're also a little hurt about last time I picked Treasure Planet, and
I'm not hurt. I stand by my review of Treasure Planet. I'm going to show it at the Three Grandmas Film Festival. It's the first film.
You still think that film's a banger?
No, the only film I'm hurt by is Grizzly Man. That's the only film that I'm going to die. I'm going to say, they didn't like Grizzly Man. I really thought they were going to love it.
I think Grizzly Man is important. I think Grizzly Man is really important.
I might pick it again this week. Maybe we need to watch it again.
No. We really... So I went back and watched it again.
No, you didn't.
No, and I really sat down and I was like, this is worse than I thought. This movie fucking sucks.
Oh, God. What are you talking about?
I'm just kidding.
It's so you watch it again. No, that's funny, though. That's a funny bit.
I do want to ask Time.
I mean, listen, but we can't be like that on this show. It's like, if we are so afraid that they're not going to like the movies we like, it's like, but at the end of the day, it's like, I don't love 100% any movie or hate them. It's just, it's always a fucking balance. It's like,
Yeah, I'm always surprised by your takes, like yours and
Good.
Time's takes, but I'm never like disappointed or anything. Like,
Good.
I mean, maybe momentarily, I'm like, oh, I wish he would have liked
Well,
it
I mean, I
with
try
me,
to put
but
some thought behind the reason why I things.
yeah, no,
It's not like I
I
don't like.
understand
It's just
that.
like you're having a beautiful meal at a 5-star restaurant, and maybe you would have liked a little less salt in the soup or something. Just very
Yeah,
little minor stuff. Sometimes
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
like, oh, I have to walk out of the restaurant. If a film is so bad that I can't make it through it, that's when I get which has never happened.
Do remember at the start of this podcast, like right before we started recording, you said this film was garbage. Like so that was a direct quote. So
Garbage.
now we're at this
Yeah. Well, you know what? Sometimes you have to talk through stuff to really gel on what your perception of things are. Because sometimes I think about things in one way, and then I talk to you guys, and I totally, JC has a good point. Time has a good point. I didn't really think about it that way, and then my opinion evolves. So I think that's an important thing that
Have
all
either of you
adults
guys
do.
walked out of a movie before?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure I have.
I'm
But I
trying to
can't
remember.
remember which one. There's a lot of movies I should have walked out of, but I didn't because I just enjoyed the movie. I was like laughing at it so much. Like Showgirls is a good example that most people would want to walk out of, but then I'm laughing at it. I kind of like change my, it's so bad that it's good kind of vibe.
I don't think I've ever walked out of a cinema, but there are films that I've turned off. Like I was watching and then turned off. Like one of them was Duncan Jones's Warcraft. What an awful film.
Is that the World of Warcraft
the World
movie?
of Warcraft movie?
Yeah, I started to watch that once. It's so good.
I got about.
But that's funny. I like that when it's really bad though, because then you can just like appreciate it on a different level.
Yeah, but that movie I couldn't finish. It was just like I had a headache.
Yeah, so crazy.
Is there any like that for you, Time, that you've actually walked out of?
I can't think of anything. I mean, there's TV shows where I watched them and was like, this is fucking awful, and turned them off. But I can't.
I did that recently. What was American Horror Story. Awful show.
You're so stupid.
What a piece of shit.
You're legit an idiot. I'm sorry.
What a piece of shit.
Interesting. Show. You don't like that show?
No, I hated it. It was garbage.
Did you start the first season?
Which season?
Yeah, first season.
Oh, you're a terrible person. You're
Did
a legit
you see all the other seasons?
No, but I watched the first season. I hated it.
God, sometimes I really like that show, and sometimes I don't because I feel like it's another problem.
It has some of the worst direction, worst editing I've ever seen.
Absolutely
not.
not.
The editing is
a crazy person.
Mind-numbingly bad.
The first season is amazing, except for the last episode is fucking awful.
Yeah, because they don't resolve things correctly in that show.
Ryan Murphy does not know how to end fucking series.
It was crazy. It was crazy watching that show and then moving to a good show like Justified and realizing just how some
of the seasons are better than others.
I don't agree.
I think that the election season was pretty good when they had like the clown murderers and stuff. They had Campaign, I think it was called or something. It was 2016.
Yeah, I'm really interested in watching the 1984 season because that's the slasher. That's like the 80s slasher.
I haven't seen that one.
Season.
I tried to watch the Apocalypse one, like the Wasteland one. Oh God, it was so bad.
That one was good for a little bit, and then it started falling apart.
And then it got weird. It's just like when the Wasteland Wanderer got to the place, it's like they didn't know what to do, and then it turned into like I don't know, like a soap opera.
Like witches and show that it was awful.
Like, and then it's like they had that chick from Fleetwood Mac show up and do the song.
Yeah.
Rihanna, right?
Terrible.
Stevie Nicks.
IRL
Stevie Nicks shows up. It's like, what's going on?
It's crazy.
It's campy. It's a campy show.
I was watching American Horror Story, and I was wishing for the days when I was watching Supernatural. Like, I really enjoyed that show compared to this. And even then, I thought Supernatural was pretty corny. That American Horror Story just wasn't it for me. It felt like
to do horror on TV because you don't want to scare the normies too much.
You're a crazy person.
Is the editing like that through the entire, like every single season? Like, is 1984 the same sort of editing style?
I wouldn't know. I don't pay attention to editing, so I'm not sure.
They change a lot of stuff every season.
What your problem is with the editing?
Oh my God, there was no breaks in the dialogue. Like literally nothing. It was the opposite of this
like
movie.
West Wing. That's what they do in West Wing, right?
Going.
Oh my God, it was like a nightmare. And the dialogue also wasn't good. Like it was just so obvious and crap. And That's another show. Like that's another episode of Three Grandmas. If you want to go over it, but
West Wing does that with the rapid fire
season 1
dialogue.
What's that?
West Wing.
What's that? Oh no, the West. But the thing is Aaron Sorkin's dialogue moves. It moves everything forward.
And they're saying a lot of stuff that's interesting, and they're not saying a lot of stuff that's interesting in the.
But American Horror Story just felt like it was dragging its heels and just like.
I like the one with the Asylum. That wasn't a bad season.
That was a good season. That was a good one.
That was a good one. And then they had the circus people one. That was kind of fucked up.
Not very good.
Not great, but I liked what they started out with. But then I don't know. It's just like if it's on TV, they're really not going to be. It's not going to be as scary as it needs to be. I feel like. Yeah. They're still like worried about Bob and Carol and
the anthology series that it was pretty awful, but they had some good episodes on there.
Okay.
All right.
But how did we get to this? What were we talking about?
Walking out of movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Walking out of movies.
But what I did want to ask you, Time, is like that scene where there's that really weird cop with the creepy eyes. And Joaquin Phoenix walks in. I had no idea what they were talking about the baseball.
Oh, the home run records and stuff like that. Yeah.
Can you explain that all to me?
Okay, so Meryl is this essentially a fucking stud minor league player. He had aspirations to go to the big leagues, and he had a lot of power.
Robin Yount.
Yeah, he hit home runs. He had the record for longest home runs, and he said he had a lot of other records. So I'm assuming
what does longest home run mean? Sorry, I know nothing about
507 feet. Yeah, the furthest hit. Yeah,
hit it out of the park.
Yeah, 507 is legit like outside of the stadium. Like it's pretty far.
Oh right, because I thought home run meant when you run around the bases.
Yeah, but you have to do that by hitting the ball out of the park. Yeah.
You have to hit it out of the park so they can't field it, and then you can run around the bases at your leisure.
So when you say longest home run and they hit the ball, like you hit the ball out, and they manage to get it and throw it back, it's not a home run anymore.
No, they can't get it. Once it leaves the stadium, it's gone. That's right. Okay. Whoever's on base gets to score.
Yeah.
Right.
But he struck out all the time, right? That was the thing.
Yeah, so which that dialogue didn't make any sense because the guy's like, he has another record that he didn't tell you about. He struck out like crazy. He has more strikeouts than 2 people. And he just stopped, and I go, 2 people what? Like,
I'm probably thinking Rob Deere.
People ever?
I remember Rob Deere. Rob Deere used to play for the Tigers. He used to bat 196 with like 47 home runs every year.
Below the Mendoza line. Ooh.
Right? And it's like, yeah, but when he got one, it was gone. So they kept him around because like a DH situation.
Yeah.
But that just means that like you don't hit for average. You're just trying to kill everything, and you're not like spreading the ball around the field, and you're not taking doubles and triples. And
I made this comment to Flame when we were watching this. I turned to her and I said, you know what? If because he didn't get, I'm assuming he didn't get to the big leagues because he couldn't hit for average. He couldn't make solid contact all the time. He was just striking out like crazy. So he was.
But there's also the part of his character that he left that to help his family on the farm as well. Yeah. So it's twofold.
So my thought was, man, if Merrill existed in today's baseball, he would 100% made the big leagues.
Sure,
because strikeouts don't
they all do.
Yeah, strikeouts
don't care about strikeouts.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So how come they don't matter? Because I thought that was like a win or lose of the game.
Because pitching is so dominant,
and an out is an out. It doesn't matter how you get the out.
Right.
Okay. Like years ago, like no, it did, but it's like it's weird. Like the game has changed because like he made contact, he hit a ground ball to first, or he hit a ground ball to the infield, or he flied out. It's like look, he makes solid contact, right? But it's an out. It doesn't. Nothing happens.
Right.
And it's like
they used to talk about WHIP all the time, which is walks and hits in. Innings pitched divided by innings pitched, but at some point the pitching became so dominant.
It's too good, yeah.
It used to be like 100 strikeouts was a good season for a pitcher. I don't know, it was like 287 strikeouts is pretty normal for a lot of these guys, and it's just so they're just it's just changed. The game changes.
But it's an out is an out. Doesn't matter how you do it. And then
that's Moneyball philosophy, isn't it? Though,
yeah, pretty much.
And it's like having the batting order. It used to be like the power hitter was batting fourth or third because you want people on base.
I've heard that.
To hit it.
It's really good.
And they changed that so that the way you should do the batting lineup is highest average or on base percentage. That's what
To the
Moneyball
top, yeah.
did. Instead of having the power at the third and fourth position. It used to be the leadoff guy was high average, good base stealer. So you want to have people on and then they hit the ball out. Now it's just like put the best at the top of the lineup so that they have more at bats during the whole game, because there's the people at the bottom of the lineup, it usually averages out that they get one less at bat.
So the base think of it thinking whatever the idea of it is, what do you want to do in a game? You want to score runs, right? If you have a guy who strikes out a million times but he hits 50 home runs a game, that's 50 runs. And if you have a guy who, he can pepper the ball around the infield, this and that, and get hits, whatever. But if he gets a single, he's stuck at first. That's not a run. If he gets a double, he's at second. And then you try
like they whatever. Steal bases a lot more too.
But they changed the rules to steal more now.
Oh, they do.
They changed them.
Good. Yeah.
Wouldn't the issue then become if you have too many players like that on your team? Because then you're just striking out players in your team.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So you have to balance it. Yeah.
So they're useful. They're useful to have players like that, except not too many. Is that that kind of the vibe that I'm getting?
There's not many players that have 5 tools, where they can hit for average power and all stuff like that. You want to fill your lineup
40,
with guys.
40 guys, right?
Yeah,
40
you want to fill your lineup with guys who can just hit bombs,
average,
get walks. Yeah, actually hit, for average stuff like that.
You
want
to
do that.
Diversify your team.
Yeah.
It's important to be clutch. It's more important to be clutch. Right, because if you have 2 men on at the end of the game and you just need to get a hit, you don't want to swing for the fences. Obviously, you just need a single. So that's really where it comes through. And if it's nobody on base, it probably is smart to try to crack one out. Yeah, because they're throwing a lot of fastballs too, which is you can't hit home runs off certain pitches too. And it's so difficult.
You have pitchers back in the 30s and 40s. They're throwing 80 miles an hour. It's like a straight ball. It's a little curveball here and there, and then you got guys who are throwing 104 miles an hour, and it just spins like crazy and is darting all over you. It's just like it's so hard to hit, regardless. Like to hit a baseball, you have to have superhuman vision in general, and then you just made it a million times harder.
Pitching just seems to just get better and better because of nutrition and surgeries are better. Like Tommy John surgery changed everything. I remember seeing Tommy John pitch when he had that surgery at the Oakland A's stadium because he had to retire and everything. When he came back, he was just dominant.
So starting next week, 3 grandmas yapping about baseball. I'm really excited to announce.
I would watch that. That's really a great show. I'll make that channel.
I'd learn so much. I reckon. I'd learn so much.
If you want to learn baseball, pick up one of the video games. I think that's a great way to learn. They're usually cheap.
I think I'm good with understanding cricket. I think I'm good. I got my quarter of.
I was going to mess around with cricket the other day, the video game cricket, and learn those rules.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if that's a good game though.
So to round this off, I'd just like to go around the table and ask Pragpro, what'd you think of Signs? What would you rate it?
It's a mixed bag. I'll give it like a 75. I think people, if this is a good family movie, I think people will enjoy it. And my problems with it are probably like things that have been festering for years, have more to do with me than the film, and just personal preference. And I recommend people see it. I wouldn't say this is like don't see it. Yeah, so I would.
Good. Would you recommend Signs, and what would you rate it, Time?
I would recommend it, and I would give it a 70 probably.
70?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you like?
I gave him a higher score, and then you don't yell at me. That's so crazy.
Wow, no, it
was enjoyable.
It's okay. Yeah, it's all for the fun of the game. I really enjoyed this film. I would absolutely recommend it. And I think it showcases what M. Night Shyamalan is really good at, and encapsulate everything he's really good at. I think I honestly, because The Sixth Sense is so heavily built on. I mean, it's a great family drama, but it's also built on that twist. And this one, I don't think is built on any twist or anything like that, or any kind of reveal. It's built on that family dynamic. So in some ways, I feel like it works better than The Sixth Sense on rewatch, maybe. But I haven't rewatched it yet.
You haven't seen that one in a while.
Interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd put it in the top echelons of his filmography. I'd probably give it an 80, 85, around that range.
Fair.
Yeah.
It's fair.
So, I mean, in the end, we were all pretty close in our ratings, but we've got different scales or whatever.
The flaws for me didn't destroy the whole film. You know, they were just things that would just, you know, it didn't destroy the whole film. It's just things I didn't like.
What are we watching next week, Prag?
No, it's
very interested to hear
this. Ready? I want to watch his eyes. I want to see how time goes to waste.
Hold on. I thought we were switching to someone else.
Huh?
What do you mean?
I thought
Who else?
I thought we go back and forth.
Hold on.
What's going on with the schedule? I don't know. You listen.
31st. Nominees is the 31st.
Oh, 31st. Okay, I just make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, nominees is the 31st. It's Pragpro.
Okay. Make sure.
You ready? You ready to hear?
Yeah,
ready to find out what the movie is?
You're gonna roll your eyes.
No, he's not. I think he's gonna like this one because he loves music, and this is a great film about music. It's Amadeus.
I knew it.
I know the song.
Yeah.
Is the song from the movie?
It won.
Which one?
The Amadeus.
The song from the movie?
No.
No, that's that.
It's about the life of Mozart, and it won. I don't know how many Oscars it won. It won all the fucking Oscars I know that year.
It deserves it.
Listen. Break this film into 2 sections. It's a long movie, but it really gets into the life of Mozart, and you learn a lot. And it's a great movie. It's really well. I mean, I'll let you guys watch it.
We'll see how you go, because I feel like the way that Mozart is portrayed in that film is a lot different to a lot of biopics. So it might surprise you. Time. We'll see how you go.
Yeah, there's a lot of sex, drugs, and rock and roll in this movie.
The way they portray Mozart in this film
is a pop star.
That's
what he was.
Very interesting.
It has renowned PDF file Jeffrey Jones in it. That's pretty cool.
Who? I don't even know who that is.
I'm pretty sure
you must keep a list or something.
I know who you're talking about.
The principal from Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, the principal from Ferris Bueller.
F. Murray Abraham is the fucking star. This is an interesting film because it views Mozart from the perspective of his rival, who's like getting dunked on all day by Mozart, and he's just like losing his mind because he's a genius, and the other guy's really good, but he's not as good. So it's a cool movie. I think I haven't seen it in a long time, and I think we haven't picked any older movie, like real older movies, like 80s movies, in a minute.
Yeah,
I like to get the older ones in here sometimes.
I saw it for the first time very recently, so it's very fresh in my mind, but
right.
I really enjoyed it, and I was very surprised by the way they portray these characters. You might really enjoy it, Time.
It's a fun movie. It's not. I mean, it wouldn't have gotten all the accolades if it was a snoozer. I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have picked like Dangerous Liaisons, which is another banger, but that's even more deep into that one.
I already know what my next one's going to be.
Do you?
I won't reveal it yet.
Just say it now. Right. Just fucking say it now.
You can reveal it if you want.
Nope. We'll wait.
That's your,
We'll wait. And I may change it by then, but I have a pretty good idea which film I'm picking next. So.
Is it Tremors?
No, it's not
Tremors. It's Critters, isn't it?
Critters 3.
Critters 3. Oh, he said Critters 3.
Critters 3.
Leonardo DiCaprio's breakout role.
Magnum opus.
Yeah.
Oscar winning. I also want to mention this film has another Oscar nominee in it. Abigail Breslin. A few years later, she'd get nominated for Little Miss Sunshine. Yeah,
right.
And
that was a good one.
Pretty much the same reasons. She's just a really good young actress. Really, really good at selling the the cute kid. Yeah.
Can I just say one thing before we log off? I want to thank everyone for helping Go Sponsors Live become affiliate today. It was fast. It was dirty. Thank you. And I won't promote it anymore here today.
Well done.
As the junior executive producer, you can promote all you want. That's fine.
Every Friday, 8 Pacific. This is every Saturday, 8 Pacific. This is Friday, 8 Pacific.
I work every Friday.
What? You don't want to watch it? You don't like it?
No. I work every Friday.
The thing we have VODs. I don't know if you've heard about VOD technology, but you can actually listen to it because it's all audio podcast. So you don't even have to watch it.
Then I'm missing other streams. You know what I mean?
I know, but it's crazy when you have friends. You have to like support your friends. It's nuts. Just like to support your swimming program.
It's Prag's show.
No, it's not. And then Craig's it's Craig and mine and
SV, and I'm the executive junior producer.
I know.
Listen, we have a big community, and everyone's welcome to help us make our shows. And the reason why it got so many views and everything fast is because of the great community from Channel 9 and Leslie Tanner to bringing those two communities, and the support is amazing. It's like there's people in the Discord on day one. They're into it, and like we doubled our audience every stream essentially.
How come they don't come here?
That's what I was telling the JC. I'm like, what do we have to do to get this thing affiliated? We've been making the show for a long time. Maybe we need to have a special stream and just like have more streams or something. I want to be a triple affiliate.
We should do the Acolyte time.
It's like the EGOT. Yeah.
Maybe we should have a special episode during midweek or something to talk about TV shows that we like, or it's an hour. Maybe
video games we hate.
Whatever. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't be affiliated.
It could just be like a chill, like laid back stream where we're just like hanging out,
just to hang out,
whatever.
Wigs off, hair down, just hanging out,
Yeah, I mean, if we have like, I don't know what's a good time during the week, but if you guys figure out a time where you guys can block out time, I'll make the time and we can do a little hangout just to get this freaking thing affiliated because there's no reason why it shouldn't be.
I've been wanting to block time for so long, so it sounds like
I know.
I get it.
Even if it's just like a 45-minute thing that we do or something, or video game updates, or maybe we can look at trailers and like do a preview of like what's in the movies right now and like talk about those things we haven't seen.
We can rip off glance.
We can have,
rip off glance. Absolutely.
No, it's not a rip off.
We'll do way better too.
Listen, we started doing this a long time ago.
We can do a segment where we make up like movies and we make up like a fake one. You have to guess which one it is.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
So maybe like a Tuesday or a Wednesday or a Thursday night. I'm down.
Wednesday.
I modded Flame Princess, by the way. Is that okay?
Flame Princess, put MJ in the dishwasher while he's here on the podcast.
No. She's right behind me. She's right behind me.
No, she's not anymore.
Where is she? Oh, she is. She's
Grab her.
right on the floor.
Snatch MJ.
I don't see her. Shit.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me on this occasion. I'm going to be seeing Deadpool and Wolverine very soon. So
maybe we should do a special Deadpool review.
Yeah, go see it.
I'd be happy to do that.
Go see it.
Have you?
All right, figure out if we can figure out a special episode this week or next week or something, and we'll do it because I think it's the only reason we're not affiliate because we only stream once a week. And listen, if we're on here, and we might as well be getting a little revenue.
The problem is I work until 3 and 6. So
till 3 and 6 p.m.
Yeah, so 3 p.m. on Wednesdays.
What time is that in Pacific? Do you know?
Yeah, what I'm asking is.
What time is it right now for you?
It's 12:16 p.m. right now.
Fuck, so it's midnight for us.
Yeah.
I can do it at midnight, Daddy. I can do it at 2 o'clock in the morning if you need me to. I don't sleep anyway.
If we have a set day, I will go to sleep early and then wake up in the day.
You guys could do it in the morning. Like we could have a morning show.
We could like split into groups of two if we wanted to do that as well. Like you and JC, me and Time, me and JC, and that's just we just need to have more a couple more streams a week, and then
this is inside baseball right now. Yeah,
sweet lucre. I need that everybody. $2 per sub.
He needs it. Give it to him.
I need it. I just bought a new computer and I
see you in hell, Steve. Rotten hell, Steve. Bye.
Bye.